And I think anecdotally, this was something that was interesting to me of what we feel like is happening right now, where everyone throws out the terms wild, wild west. And we hear a lot of people, coaches, athletic directors saying this is broken and needs fixing here. And it feels like a problem that is everywhere right now. I had a chance last week. I was in New York. Notre Dame was doing a sports summit for a bunch of their, high-level donors and people out there, alumni in the area. And they had a panel of current players talking. And you can imagine a lot of those guys got asked questions about all this. And it was funny because we think it's this everyone problem and it's so pervasive right now. Most of the questions about NIL ended up getting asked to Isaiah Foskey, who is a very highly touted pass rusher, a guy who's going to be high on draft boards next year. And all the rest of the guys are like, yeah, we have some of that stuff pop up, but there's only one guy on the stage who's actually dealing with a lot of this. And so it to me was a good reminder of, all right, a lot of this is still at this point in the place where we picked it up, but we know we're getting to the point now where it's mimicking pay for play. NIL is starting to be tied to, what a lot of people look at as recruiting enticements. There's all these cries about it from the NCAA. So my general thought process on all of this is good. We were due for an adjustment. We had a system that was dated, that required sacrifice from the people who were giving the most to the process. I should say the most sacrifice from the people who were giving the most in the process. And the rest of it had just gotten too big around them to ignore. And so we all know the NCAA had a chance to get out in front of this and didn't. And so I look at it and say, now it is on the adults in the room, the older adults, because we've got young adults in the center of this that are now getting this influx of cash. It's on those adults to figure out how to best make sure, first and foremost, the safety of the athletes are at the center of this, that you don't have guys being taken advantage of by a new group of people that are going to work as intermediaries in a lot of parts of this process, and then to figure out how to structure and organize it a little bit better for themselves. So my general thought process is good.
I totally agree with that. And I think when you look at it, KG, there's a right way to do it. Now, I think there needs to be restrictions. There has to be this and that. And the free market, everybody loves to throw that around. But even in free market, there are certain rules. But I think exactly what you just said is, we think it is this massive, big problem that affects everybody. It is a very small percentage. And before all this happened, I went on 100 different shows and said, this is only going to affect about 10 people per team, maybe. And so when you talk about the grand scheme of things,